In 1981, when I arrived to work at Eastern Baptist Theological Seminary. And the big issues in the community were similar to the ones today.
And the only folks who were willing to put money in, to put energy in, to try to revitalize these neighbors were folks in nonprofit organizations, because the for-profits couldn't make money. So nonprofit CDCs, community development corporations, really emerged in the mid-'80s, and Esperanza was one of them.
So we start looking around and saying, what can we do to be more proactive?
Over the years in government, I've met a lot of people who had great vision and passion about certain subjects, but to have the vision and the passion, and then to be a relentless advocate, and then go get public and private support, and then associate yourselves and pull in a lot of people who share the passion, the vision with you, and start laying the foundation, brick by brick by brick.
Luis starts a community development corporation with the ministries and with the ministers. And then he starts what I think was the most important project in his element because of his relationship with Eastern Baptist Seminary, which is now Eastern College.
Reverend Cortez is very adept at getting elected officials, not just me, but me particularly, to do things that he wants to do because he produces. If he tells you he needs money to do A, B, and C are going to get done.
Howard, Brandeis, and Notre Dame. Today, those schools are not necessarily known as the Jewish school, the black school, the Irish school. They're known as great schools. Why? They grew, and in certain areas they surpassed. That's the narrative for Hispanics in the US. Hispanic people creating Hispanic institutions are a long way from that. But I think it's important that we do it because we need these bridges. We need these bridges now and for the next few decades.
This is not a job for Cortez. This is a mission. And as a mission, it's a calling to them from God to see how we can make people's lives better.
And with education comes the opportunity for you to advance, for you to have the integrity to do what you love and hopefully support yourself, support the family, and give back to the community.
If you have the opportunity to educate a student from kindergarten through 12th grade, the opportunities for increased student outcomes are immense.
Luis, when he started, didn't want to build a high school. He wanted to build a college. But the opportunity, the money, wasn't there to build a college. The opportunity was there to get involved in charter school education.
I love Esperanza's charter school, which, by the way, is one of the best in the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I don't know if you know that, but it is. And why is it? You've got parents, you got the teachers, and you got the students, and they're all committed to advancing the interest of the child.
So for our funders and our friends and our people that help us, we use your resources to give people opportunities in this area within Esperanza.
He always asks for good projects, and he always does good things with the money, not only for the city in general, but for the Latino community.
The CDC was a gateway. That laid a foundation which then Luis used to not only respond to the things it was doing, but then to look out into the community, understand the need, and then connect that to other sources of money that allowed him to build an organization. And community development corporations and the building of housing was one of those.
I was always impressed with what Esperanza did in its housing projects and in its economic development projects. And I thought Reverend Cortez was a great leader, someone who would make strong statements but would back them up, unlike a lot of people in this town who make strong statements and then take a hike.
He gave his very famous speech, and it had a line in it that is very familiar to all of us who know him. And the line was, "You have heard it said that you should teach a man to fish and not fish for him, but I tell you, it's better to own the pond."
So the first real estate development project that Esperanza did was at 2400 North 2nd Street, and the board at that time said, no, we can't borrow. That's too much money to borrow. $75,000, I think, was the dollar amount at that time. Years later, We're at the point of having about a 10-acre campus. The 10-acre campus has several large buildings that we redeveloped over time. We put $2 million in almost every 2 or 3 years. Much more than $75,000, and take the risk associated with it, essentially borrowing about $20 million.
One of Luis's profound commitments is a concern about service to the community and that it should be excellent and it should be first class. I mean, you can see it when you walk in the building. The building is a first class statement, and we want them to know that they're worthy of first class attention, and we're going to try to put a platform together that makes that statement clear.
If you can educate a young man or woman, then the possibilities of success for them are enhanced immeasurably.
We can expand all that to have people come in, see what we're doing, and hopefully help us get the mission out more.
Not only do we serve and do we see students finish Esperanza Academy, but now they come back and they invest and they make it even stronger than it once was. What an exciting thing to see.
The continued improvement, the continued repositioning, the continued excelling of programs is normative with the job. Right? That's kind of what we need to do now across our programs.
That's what integrity is about. Understanding that you are being supported by donors and by government to obey rules and have an outcome, a positive outcome. And so our role is, when those rules get in the way of the outcome, to explain to government how they need to be changed. Sometimes it takes a long time.
He rejected the definition of a narrow, focused community development corporation that all we will do is build houses. Why? Because the money will respond to that opportunity, and then together we'll create a solution that makes a difference in the life of the people God calls us to serve.
Faith gives you the hope that if you're persistent and you got good leadership and you can communicate and you can do all these things, things will get better. And then excellence is to demand it and to have the outcomes that people expect you to have when they invest in you, whether it's a corporation, an individual, a foundation, or a government.
We are doing this because of a deep sense of justice. We are doing this because at the heart of justice, there is a personal story. Those of us who are here and feel most committed, we have been poor too. We understand the immigrant journey. We understand the struggles of that journey. We understand the anguish of being poor. We understand the politics of poverty.
There's some choices you'll make in life that you will do if you have faith. I found the faith connection to be very important, not just in mission, but in culture and capacity, actually.
I've had a great relationship with Esperanza dating back to the time I was a young mayor and Reverend Cortez was a young minister. I've enjoyed the work we've done with Esperanza. I've enjoyed seeing you grow and grow as an organization and have greater impact each and every year on the life of the city.
And we get a chance to give back to the community. That's what leaders do. Mentor those. If you've been mentored, then you mentor. If you're successful, make sure that you share some of that success with others. It may be in the forms of advice, it may be in forms of employment. And if you're really successful, then you can contribute not only your time, but your treasure back into that group that helped put you on your way, gave you the opportunity to start climbing that ladder.
Building housing without helping build individuals is a lost cause. It's just a lost cause. You have to combat poverty at a certain level. It's an educational level. It's a change in individual culture level. It's a change in an understanding of investment toward the future. I'm proud of the team because we've done rather well over 30 years.